Hey, is anybody out there? Testing, testing. Warm up here. I think there should be a chat. Let me know. This is the first time using YouTube Hangouts. I can't monitor my audio, so let me know how my audio is. I was just trying to log in to see. Is anyone out there? You could always tweet at me too. I got my phone, so or email me. But hey, thank you. And I'll just if anybody to list all available commands. Got bandwidth usage. Is my mic on? Microphone check. Microphone check. Microphone check. Check, 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 check. Okay. But yeah, this is my first time using Google On Air, Google Hangouts. So let me try to log into my Patreon since I'm not seeing anybody chatting and see if I can chat with myself. Chat with myself. But yeah, give me 1 second. If anybody can chat, let me know. Dooby 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 doo. Doo 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 doo. Why am I singing a Christmas song? Okay, lost 2 viewers there. Oh, now the test, 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 test. Okay, I am into mine. Ba 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 ba. Dee 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 dee. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Za 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 z. We got seven people. Is anybody able to chat? Is anyone able to chat? I'm going to join on my phone here. Drew, can you hear me? I can't chat with myself. Okay, note to self: next time, learn how to use YouTube chat. So no one can chat. Is that really the case? I have trouble believing it. Links, video embed. Maybe everybody's watching on their phone. Well, this is awkward. Let me see. This isn't gonna be very. You could actually, you can't. You could comment on the Patreon page. We'll adjust on the fly here. Don't worry. 7 watching now. Started streaming 3 minutes ago. Let me try to get to my Patreon page. You guys can comment on the Patreon comments in line. Comment here. I'll type. Okay, so we have 12 viewers uh, so far. So I guess I'll just talk. And we got 2 likes. Oh, wait, that was on the old one. 1 comment. Um, so 13 viewers. All right. So I just want to first off thank everybody who's a patron. Um, there isn't a way for me to underestimate how important it is and how much it means to me and how much it means to the rest of the audience because I get a lot of emails of people that really appreciate the show. And, not everybody's able to support the show or chooses not to. But the show's impact, like the show would not exist without patron support. Like I don't even know how I made it when I was editing the episodes myself. Um, so without your help, it wouldn't exist. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everyone that's supporting the show. So thank you. Um, so with that said, let me just keep playing around here. I wish I had it. I wish I had Stan here. Wait, hold on. Scooter, Scooter. It's how's it going over there? It's great, not great, Stan. I wish you could get on camera. Scooter, you should have brought my thing that used to move me. Your dolly, Stan. Yeah, I guess I should have. Yeah, Scooter, I'm just right out of camera range, so there's no way you could get me on camera. Yeah, there's no way, Stan. I wish you knew how to do. I wish you could have. Aren't you a supercomputer though? Couldn't you control why people can't share? So just anybody is anybody watching? Is it coming through? Maybe it's not coming through. Wait, I just heard something. Hide from broadcast. What does present to everyone mean? Test, test, test. Don't know what that means. What if I double click on that? No, I guess I have logged in, so it's coming through. 14 viewers. Uh, okay, so I guess I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I did say there will be glitches here. Maybe if we do this Hangouts thing, I'm gonna try copying something else to the Patreon page to see what happens. Oh, you get so everyone is chatting away? Oh, great. Oh boy, thanks, Bonnie. Yeah, great. Yeah, this is really hmm. All right, YouTube. Let's see. Let's see if I could do this. Oh boy, that just slowed it down. Oh, chat's working fine for everybody. Whew. Interesting. Uh hmm. All right, so everybody chat among yourselves. Try to come up with some questions while I try to figure this. Yeah, this is going great. Wouldn't be, huh? My group chat is just not. Let me see if I can just. Let's mute this video. Okay, so now I can't monitor my own camera, but I can look at the. I could look at the chat. Oh boy. Yeah, now, well, I was Bonnie. I was watching. So Bonnie's tweeting me. So, um, if for some reason I couldn't hear the, okay, let me just run through this. Butterfly, hi. Oh, that's Bonnie. Batman, how you doing? Um, K. Smith, thank you. Allison can hear me. Geraldine can hear me. Posty. Uh, K. Smith, Geraldine, Emily, Jelena, Allison. Uh, okay, cool. So I guess I can answer questions on here. The last question, let's see. So in the chat, this is really distracting because I can't watch myself, but like I'm seeing the video from like um why is the video this is really annoying. Um but we'll figure it out. Don't worry, Scoots. Scoots, stay calm. If we get rid of this chat. All right, now I've like faked my own. Okay, now we're busy. Oh, by the way, thanks, patrons. Okay, so now we're in business. Thank you, everybody. Did everybody hear my where I thanked everybody? Anybody out there thinking about starting a podcast out there? Because this is the first time I've used this mic. Guess how much this mic cost? I mean, I don't know if I'd use it for the podcast, but take a look at this mic and let me know how much you think it costs because this would be a perfect mic to start a podcast with. Okay. So now I'm here. We got B to the SCR. Jennifer wants me to say hey hi to Ray. Marty's a new boyfriend. Nana, shout out. Okay, so let me test. Oh boy. Mar. Cool. So does anybody have any questions since I ate up 12 minutes of our time together? Come on, YouTube. Pull it together. But so or anybody have a guess on how much this might cost? Anyone? 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 Or are my comments not coming through now? Testing, testing. It's so weird. It's on YouTube. It doesn't show any of the chat. Oh, 125. Okay, here we go. Now it's working. $99. Here we go. $800. This mic, $12 mic. This is a $12. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? So anybody wants to start a podcast? This is a mono price mic. It's similar to like a Shure SM58, like that you would use for like a PA system or whatever. You do need an audio interface that you plug it in so it goes into your computer. Normally, in the past, I've used this mic for talking online. This is an ATR 2100. When did this become a? Just in case anybody's thinking about starting a podcast, this is like a USB and XLR mic. But these mics have been recommended so many times, the price kind of shot through the roof. So now they're like $75. But yeah, I was listening while I was testing my audio before I started. Since I got this mic, I've been testing it because I think this will be my new on location mic. Really sounds good, especially for $12 or $20. I think I got it on sale, but cool. Yeah, Marty, you could get an interface for pretty foot. Allison, I am a Bush fan. I am. So does anybody have any questions about the podcast or anything you want me to talk about? I have like one announcement of something I have that we could talk about now, or we could do like a little Q&A for like 15 minutes. So let me know if you have questions and then we can kind of do a Q&A if that works. And then we'll talk this major announcement. Am I going to do any more TV series recaps? Yeah, I'm going to do starting when I finish Breaking Bad. There's going to be some other stuff interspersed between now and the end of the year with Breaking Bad, and then we're going to do Star Trek Next Generation for 2017. Not for the whole year. I guess one lesson I learned from Breaking Bad is that maybe I'll do like 2 or 3 months, probably 3 months of Star Trek and then take a break with something shorter term and then go back to Star Trek. Let's see. Jennifer asks, and I'm still getting this down. How about Shakespeare, Jennifer? I don't know if you're a mind reader, but keep an eye on Sleep Phone's website. If you haven't bought any Sleep Phones, they're a sponsor of the show. But we did do a bonus episode for them that should be up on their website for everybody for free. I'll probably actually release it to the patrons, actually. So you could check the Patreon feed or Sleep Phones' site. I think they're going to probably release. I think they're probably going to release it next week, but it's a Shakespeare uh, for them. Star Trek. Let me see. Still having trouble getting this down. Man. Okay, here we go. Shakespeare, Star Trek. Sounds fantastic. Yeah, Mark, I spelled sleep with me wrong. uh Shakespeare. Yeah, so that Shakespeare episode um is something a little bit more experimental than a regular podcast episode. It's like going to be a binaural uh Shakespeare ASMR type thing. Okay, I got to refresh here to follow the comments. Wait a second. Now the comments. Oh, there's the comments. Okay. Next Generation. Julie likes Next Generation. Laura likes. Yeah, froze for a second. Probably because no sound. Uh oh. Shakespeare. Who's that? Lestat. Yeah, so Shakespeare will be up on what do you call it? Okay. How scripted? Share Toothbrush asks, how scripted are Nuns in Space? And how far ahead do you plan the stories? Okay, this is a good one. So I'm going to switch away from the chat just so I can make sure I stay on camera. So actually, I was like, let's see if I can get some notes here. So the Nuns in Space series, like, let's see. They're pretty scripted. They're very outlined. I'll show some notes. They're going to be backwards. Um, but so Nuns in Space is like, since it's like a procedural or what is it? What's the right word? Somebody told me what the right word is. Episodic. Like the season isn't planned out. The season arc isn't planned out. I used to try to plan out season arcs, and I realized that like planning out the season arcs is really hard. Episodic. Somebody just said in the chat. Thank you. It is it's really difficult, like with the time constraints I'm under. But so like basically I write a Nuns in Space episode in a week. So today's I recorded the last episode on Thursday, and then Friday was like more of like blue sky, like kind of coming up with the theme of the episode, and then like I was like, oh, I still don't have actually a theme. Like then yesterday it was like I still don't have anything. But let me run through just some of the notes. Like these would be like the day one notes, which will be backwards, but like just like notes like this, like coming up with ideas. Then it'll start to take place, like then it'll get more and more details. Actually, that doesn't help. But so it'll be like once I have an idea what the episode's about. Lately, I've been using like a Dan Harmon's kind of version of the hero's journey to kind of chart out like the plot, like as if it's on a clock. Like, so this would be the plot of the story. That's kind of like another arc in the story. And like then I'll outline it, then I'll do some dialogue, then I'll like re-outline it again. So like you can kind of see like I didn't like that. So then I came up with another outline. Then I said, well, I don't know. So then I did it again. Then like I started kind of writing. and writing. Then I'll do like another arc. So ideally by the time I record it, like there's dialogue and there's all the plot points are arranged, but it's still not scripted as far as like it's dialogued and outlined versus scripted. But ideally, the more outlined it is, the more boring it can be. Okay, so, and if there's more follow-ups on that question, just let me know. Okay. Hamlet, Mystery Science Theater, Star Trek, episodic, real-time recipes at Allison. There isn't, I do have plans for the real-time recipe, some future real-time recipe episodes. There isn't one recorded yet. I mean, I have to look into copywriting and recipes because I don't like want to violate anyone's. If someone owns a recipe, I don't want to violate their rights by using it on a podcast. And I don't have I don't really have too much time or funds to like get permission. Even like someone that would give me permission, I barely have time to email them. So it's like always real-time recipes, like always recipes that I cook. But I do have plans for 2 more in 2016, like a Thanksgiving themed one, like maybe a couple weeks before Thanksgiving, and then a holiday one. And hopefully maybe we could do the Hangouts based on that would be the idea. Structured improv. More, I mean, the Tuesday episodes are kind of a little more structured improv, but yeah, I guess like, who's that? Lizzie, I think. I would say my theory with the Thursday episodes is like the more structure they have, the more lulling and soothing and boring they can actually be. So the more tightly outlined the episodes are and more written, I mean, they're not scripted, so they're not overwritten, but the more outlined and written they are, like if they have really hard, like again, like if they're really bullet pointed and I feel like they're solid bullet point story points, then like I can fill in the gap, like the in between the story points with a lot of detail, or I can immerse myself in the story. So then I can kind of, you know, I can make it lulling and soothing. It's actually like a kind of a paradox. The more structured the episodes are, and the more work that goes into them, the more boring and effortless they can seem, which I think is like why the podcast works. Okay, baby animals, real-time recipes, Julie, listen to Wizard Without Magic Tangent. Yeah, story of my life. I've always loved wizards. Anissa asked, do I know the general demographic of the podcast? I do. I'm going to do a survey coming up. We haven't done a survey in maybe like 8 to 12 months, 8 months maybe. Our podcast is about it's probably more diverse than some podcasts. Probably like a slate. We like most podcasts, we skew younger, but I think we probably have it more spread out. I mean, we still have a majority of listeners are 18 to 34, but or maybe 18 to 44. I can't remember. I don't know the demographics by heart. But I mean, most of our lists, I don't know. I feel like we have like a wider diversity than some podcasts, but I mean, I think that just reflects the general population is diverse and the general population has trouble sleeping. Cool. Okay, so they grew up fast, structured improv, real time. Yeah, I love doing the real time recipes. Oh, Jennifer will send me a recipe. Thank you, Jennifer. Bonnie's interested in the demographics. Yeah, I mean, like, let's see, more demographics would be I don't know the general population. I mean, the general podcasting statistics for nationality. I mean, I can tell you we're about 70% US, and then Canada, Australia, and the UK. I think UK and Canada kind of go for the second highest, and then Australia is usually third or fourth. And then, I mean, I don't know. I think we probably have like a little bit wider international demographic than other podcasts, but I can't be sure about that. But what I mean, there's listeners everywhere. Um, yeah. Oh, and how many listeners? I mean, I've shared publicly. I mean, we have more listeners than the last time I've shared publicly, but I'm still kind of basing it on the public numbers, which would be like, well, I mean, a lot of people listen to the podcast, especially for like, yeah. Um, but I think the last time I shared with the last published article, it was like 70,000, 1.3 million. I mean, I can tell you the number of unique. Oh, I don't even know that by heart. I mean, each month, like hundreds of thousands of people listen to at least one episode of Sleep with Me, or IP addresses download a complete episode of Sleep with Me. How about 77? Wait. Oh, 77% speed. Um, Only thing that knocks me out faster than Scooter is Sunday football. Yeah, I would love to take a nap. Makes sense. Old world storytelling. Yeah, I guess I have a love for that kind of storytelling. And I think like it goes to the plasticity of the brain. Like the more structure you use as you tell stories, then the more your brain learns the structure. But I think it's like something innate. You know, we all like narrative for the most part. What do I do to get? Let's see if I missed any. If I miss any questions, don't be afraid to ask them twice. What do I do to get to sleep? Ever listen to Sleep with Me? That's from Shared Toothbrush. No, I mean sometimes I will listen to Sleep with Me in bed because like someone like tweeted me or emailed me and said, "Hey, did you say this?" Or "Hey, what was this about?" Or "Hey, I heard this." So then I'll load it up and listen to it. But it's like I'm listening. What do I do to get to sleep right now? I mean, like I do very stereotypical um practices like that they talk about. Like an hour before I want to be asleep, I start getting ideally like I start doing what I want to get to sleep. So um that'd be like making sure everything's taken care of. I meditate or sit quietly or sit outside and look at the stars, or listen to night like noises outside, like the freeway and the trains and the bugs and the sounds from my neighborhood. Um, then I'll do like some little bit of writing. Then I will what do I do after that? Like I'll do a little bit of reading, just basic stuff, and like somewhere in there, quiet sitting, all that. Ideally, when I'm done with all that, I have like 30 minutes left to read before I want to be asleep, and I'll just read until I fall asleep. Though a lot of times I hop on my phone just like anybody else. Um, so, and then I'll read. Right now I'm reading. Let me get the book I'm reading. Right now I'm reading Barbarian Days by William Finnegan. He works at the New Yorker. And I don't surf, but it's like a surf memoir. And I'm really enjoying it. I don't know all the surfing terms. Most of the time I read on a Kindle because I have dyslexia and it helps. And I like to be able to look up words. But I just had a hard copy of this. So um, that's what and then I'll read that till I'm like, can barely stay awake. Okay. Um, How do I get to sleep? Jennifer, 12-year-old's been listening. Wow, it's tough, Jennifer. Thank you. I'm glad I can help. Yeah. Um, oh, my brother Ken's in here. Uh, laughing. Jelena. Is it Jelena or Jelena? J or J? Um, do you research what helps people fall asleep? No, I don't. I don't do any research. I mean, I read a lot about sleep. I mean, my belief is in narrative and storytelling. So I just believe that people desire bedtime stories and uh, like a bedtime story where the person's like, I mean, I guess my theories behind the podcast probably line up with it. It's like that someone's engaging them, but they don't feel the pressure to listen. And someone's telling you a story, but it's almost at your luxury, where it's like, I'm the storyteller, but I'm still telling this story in a safe place that's like a luxury in some sense of like you can fall asleep whenever you want. Like, so you're under no pressure, like I always say, to listen or to fall asleep. Jean, Jeanalina, 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 Jeanalina. Um, so I guess I more fall on the storytelling side of it as far as like I'm sure science and that kind of line, like that people want bedtime stories and they want a little human connection, but not too much human connection, and they want me to I don't know. That's just like this silly person coming over to tell you a bedtime story. I'm interested in the science and stuff, um, but I'm just not an expert. And the podcast is like so time consuming that it just like I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like trying to find the place where heart and mind and all the other stuff like from the deep dark night kind of meet is my goal of the podcast. And another goal is the same thing that I get out of the podcast I listen to, which is like delight, which makes me really sad about Mystery Show. But like shows like that, like in other shows that are delightful. I mean, I think that's like, I think someone else used another word for it, but like some that makes it like, oh, like when you're reading a good book, like this book, it's like I feel like I'm getting to know him. So it's like, oh, I can't wait to hear what's going on because they're in Australia right now, and just hearing about anyway. I guess that's to answer that question. I hope so. Any more questions out there about? Yeah, yeah. We have some, Jennifer. There's like an interesting thing that I think is coming up, like where someone did send someone to kind of fall asleep. Okay. Like, so we'll see. Like, someone's going to get a brain scan while they listen to the podcast. Uh, Lizzie says, "Is that Lizzie? I think it is." Yeah, I think to go to the thing about panic attacks or anxiety, I'm a person that has a lot of anxiety, and when I'm sitting down to record the shows, like I have a lot of anxiety. So I think that like might be one of the reasons is like I'm trying to calm my anxiety when I make the show. So maybe there's some sort of vibrational frequency. Let's see. Share toothbrush. Do I have? No, I don't have a storytelling. I guess I have a storytelling background, but not for professional reasons. Uh, um, like I guess I've always loved story, and it's always been my hobby, writing, or when I was little, recording stuff, or trying to collect. Like over the last 10 years, like putting more and more time into it, but not for profession. Do I enjoy recording or planning the shows more? I guess it would depend. Uh, sometimes I enjoy recording the shows, and sometimes it's really, really hard, and sometimes I enjoy planning the shows, and sometimes it's really, really hard. Um, but it doesn't always have to be good. Like, I mean, it doesn't always have to be fun. Like a show like Bird Bath, like for me, like when I recorded that show, that felt really good. Like that was like a high. And if it can feel that good, like just every once in a while, I mean, that's fine. Like it can get me through like 60 episodes. Um, let's see. What are triggers? I notice I often fall to sleep at the same points in a story. I don't know, Allison. I mean, I think it's different for everybody. I hear from so many different people. Like some people fall asleep like within a few seconds. Oh, Melissa. Okay. Ah, Lestat. I was some people fall asleep at the same point, and some people I hear from that fall asleep at different times. Jennifer about physical pain. I don't know how I do that. I guess like the physical pain thing, I think falls into like this area of relatability since I know there's a lot of listeners that suffer from chronic pain. So it's something that's very important to me. And, but my ability like to empathize or with that, it comes from my like relatable experiences from not being able to sleep. Um, so I don't know how I would do that. I mean, I guess every episode is kind of meant to distract people from whatever's keeping them awake. Oh, t-shirt question. Okay, I'll get to that one next. So I don't know, maybe you could email me some ideas about it. I mean, the only other thing is like I try to walk this really fine line between acknowledging the things people are going through that are keeping them awake without reminding them or fixating them on them. And sometimes I don't succeed with that, and then I hear about it um like or this idea of like I got to make the best podcast I can, but I can't make the perfect podcast or can't address everything for people that kind of email me like, oh, you did this or oh, you did that. So I don't know. I mean, it's something I'll think about and try to think about how I could do it. Or maybe I could do it as like a Patreon bonus or something. T-shirts. Yeah, the t-shirts are something I'm struggling with figuring out. Because uh, so at some point there will be shirts, but I can't give a date because I'm trying to figure out the Patreon. Um, so I'm thinking about, yeah, I just can't say any comments on the shirts. I mean, I'm trying to decide between selling shirts or having it as part of the Patreon. But um, yeah, it's like the time invest. Yeah, like I just need to get the Patreon. Um, I don't know. I realize a lot of people want shirts and stuff. Um, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but I just haven't figured out a way to do it. And it's not it's a matter of like that my of time, um, and also a matter of like, do I just do it through the Patreon? Do I wait until the Patreon's like, um, just something I'm struggling with, but I'm aware of, and I'd like to do shirts again. Yeah. Hope that answers it. You could ask questions. It's not. I don't want to. Just I don't have a clear answer. Um, let's see. Varies for me. Yeah, sometimes people. Hello, vibrata. Jennifer makes sense. Yeah. K Smith asks if I thought about with ultra metal. Like, yeah, I have thought. This is like posty posts. Have like different background stuff, but the anything with background Okay. I'm back, I think. Okay. Still comments aren't working on that, of course. So I'm going to go over here to YouTube. Okay, I'm back. What was the last question I was answering before Geraldine had to go? Yeah. Oh, I was kind of answering a question um, about the music. Where was I with that question? Jennifer, I don't know if I could see the dog because I got this on my laptop. Um, so how much of is that Carrie's question? Kay Smith's question. Um, oh, background music. I did answer that question, but maybe it dropped. Um, yeah, background music is just like this divisive thing with listeners, and so it maybe is something for Patreon patrons, or maybe one day, like you could either sell those on YouTube, or if I sold them on iTunes, and then give them as Patreon bonuses. I mean, I like the idea of scoring the episodes, or stuff like that, but um, it seems like the most of the feedback I get about music is intense and and not happy. I mean, the background noise is like the carousel, or there's another background episode that I recorded. Those ones tend to be, they still get some upset emails, and then I put big warnings, and I try to only do them occasionally. But the ones with the background ambient audio also tend to be some people's favorite episodes. So I want to keep doing those. Uh, um, like long into the future. Okay. The mic's off. The mic was off there. I did one in a park recently. Yeah, I would love to get Tommen, the actor, on the show, or Modine. Um, yeah, that's the only problem with the $12 mic. It does have a very slippery button. Okay. So, who's got questions? I'm still answering the questions. Yeah, Dickens Fair. We should be going, uh, and hopefully I can have a listener meetup at the Dickens Fair. That would be my goal for this year. Oh, I'm glad Modine liked it. I wonder if Modine would have listened to the one. Uh, yeah, Ken, my brother Ken, he was my crew last Dickens Fair, and to try to get the audio. Um, so I have some other question. I can take some other questions, and we'll have our little. I have like a Patreon project that we're going to do. Oh, summer. Australia, down in Australia, it is summer. Do I still take words or phrases? I haven't done that in a while, Vibrata. I'll probably start doing that on Twitter again, but I haven't done it. Like I used to do it as like a hashtag on Twitter. Maybe like I'll try it. Like I guess you got to plan it out ahead of time. I think what didn't work is that um like maybe like every 4 or 5 like once every 2 months, just do it on, be like, this week, submit your ideas. Um, yeah. So once I get a better handle on my time, I can do better long-term planning, which, um, but yeah, I like kind of the ideas of, having random, like, I like things that randomize the story, whether it's Twitter trends or whatever it is. Um, yeah, thank you, Bonnie. Uh, Jennifer, I mean, the podcast, I don't think it's any different for anybody else that makes a podcast. I mean, I have a lot of friends. Like, if you're trying to make I mean, there's podcast hobbyists, and then there's like semi people that, to make a podcast of this kind of quality, takes the majority of people's time. Um, so it's tough. But I mean, at some point, maybe 6 months from now, like, I might have a little more time. Like, if I can, but yeah, I mean, I still have time. I make time. It's not like I'm like, but I mean, it's not a thing that's unique to this podcast. And people joke about it all the time. And like the other people I talk to is like, making creative stuff is really, time consuming and tough. Um, and yeah, just whatever, any monthly donation is great. Like, I think that the whole thing with the Patreon is that people that are supporting the show are supporting it, and it's just a matter of understanding, um, we're getting like a small percentage of the rest of the listeners to understand, that the support is help. Oh, Julie, that's Julie. Good question. I'll come to that one. I saw that one. Instagram. I don't know. Like, like, maybe at some point, Carrie. Um, it's just uh, like the only time I do social media is like if I'm waiting for a bus or waiting for somebody, or like procrastinating. Those are my social media times. So, or like certain bus rides, I'll try to catch up with people on Twitter or Facebook. So maybe at some point. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, Julie, this is, yeah, they just passed November 1st in California. I don't know what I'm going to do, honestly. I mean, maybe I'll just go to Uverse, uh, because I'm uploading uncompressed wave files. So, and that's 12, 15, 20, 12 Sleep With Me episodes, and eight, minimum of 12 Sleep With Me episodes, and eight, Sleep to Strange episodes, and then MP3s and tons of stuff. So I don't even know what my upload is, but might not. I mean, the other thing. I mean, it's just the ridiculous situation that we don't need to get into too much. But like, I use PlayStation View for my watching stuff, and Netflix and Amazon. So it's just a cash grab. Hopefully, someone will stand up for people. Oh, I love fan art. Anybody wants to send me any fan art, I would share it everywhere. Oh, Allison. Hopefully, at some point, uh, like in a year or two, we'll be able to travel. Um, the guys at Night Vale, like, are, um, always saying like how much they get out of like, touring their show. So maybe at some point, can figure that out. Oh yeah, Liz, if you share it, I'll share it on, Instagram for sure. Oh, I live. Oh, Allison, where do you live? Um, let's see. Let's take a couple more questions, and then I'll tell you this, our little project. Any more questions? Night Vale crossover. I don't know them that well. No, I don't think there would be a Night Vale crossover. Just that they are always talking about Stanley. That they're always talking about how much like touring for them is just a good way. Carrie, I don't think Kickstarter will work because like if Patreon kind of is our Kickstarter. I don't actually have any one time needs for money either. Like we just need like to pay for the labor that goes into the show is the goal with the Patreon. Well, actually, the Patreon is just to get part of the labor paid. Jennifer, most uh, other countries are the UK and Canada, um, and then UK and Canada, and then or England, as Allison and just said, and then Australia, and then the rest of the world. Brazil's probably next, maybe. Um, and then I don't know after that. Bonnie, yeah, you know what? Like, actually have an app. The company that hosts our podcasts, that hosts the podcasting files, they make apps. It's just, and actually, I paid all the developer fees in January. Um, but like, it's just been a time. It's on my to do list. The app, but it just hasn't. It'll like actually, I just got to get. I'm almost like probably by. I'd like to have an app. For a trip. I know the podcast that did one sent a host. Oh, yeah, Carrie. I guess um, at some point, I just like. I mean, at some point, I'm gonna plan doing more traveling with the show, but Summer, I haven't reached out to Trader Joe's. I think they're still. I would love for them to advertise on the podcast. Um, Summer's here, one of our moderators. Uh, yeah, Bonnie. I mean, they do the whole app build and everything. It's just a matter of submitting the artwork and all the like all the and all the metadata for the podcast. So, oh, Jennifer, yeah, I think Jennifer, like at some point, if I was to drive cross country or something, like that would definitely be in my stops. Oh yeah, I would love to go, like travel to museums in London and do stuff, like do appearances. I'm trying to come up with that, like pitches. I've pitched a couple museums locally, uh, but I haven't had time to like put the pressure on them. Kind of like the Dickens Fair is a good example. Like when I pitch someone, usually they don't respond to the emails, uh, and then you have to pitch. Like Dickens Fair, I had to like go after them a few times, and then they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you could come record here." Yeah, museums. I mean, I love like to do more museum based episodes or architecture based episodes. Um, but yeah, Summer, I would love for Trader Joe's to advertise on the show. Um, because I mean, I really only want companies advertising on the show's products I use and that I believe in. And I definitely, this weekend was like one of the only weekends I didn't go grocery shopping at Trader Joe's. Um, Yeah, I just got to keep pestering. I mean, I have the exploratoriums, like one local museum. I just got to put the pressure on like a little bit harder. Yeah, the rate. I don't think they would like the rate of podcast advertising compared to how much I spent at Trader Joe's would be pretty like it would be I don't know if it would even Trader Joe's is definitely making a profit even if they were advertising on the show off of me. Um well, so I'm gonna go over time unless this automatically shuts down. So I've been thinking about something we could do as a group on Patreon that would be kind of fun, but that's realistic time wise, and maybe we could use these hangouts. Uh, yeah, I'd love some Trader Joe's cookies free. So, like a project we could kind of do that would be fun, but not super time consuming. And something that's gets like the kid version that goes with the podcast. And I was like, oh, what can we do as a group like towards the end of the year that would be fun for the patrons in like I know as a kid I always like fantasize about time capsules. And I don't know if in the UK or Australia they're called something different like but like a something you take the year in 2016 and you put it into something and you bury it in the earth and then you like 50 years later it's extracted by people. I don't know, I've always found those things fascinating. Yes, yeah, and bury it. um and I was thinking as patrons that we as a group as a community we could do a 2016. I have a picture of what it would look like. um but a 2016 time capsule, and we could either use do 2016 in the podcast or 2016 the year. Let me get a picture, but and also as reward to all the patrons, like I want it to be something indelible. So the people that are supporting the show at a certain date, whether whatever level people are supporting, um, we'd make a scroll with everyone that supports the show's name on it and roll it up and put it inside the time capsule. But then we could have, if it's just with the podcast, what we could figure it out. Like, and I think it'd be fun to also figure out like other things like, uh, get buried on my hard drive stuff's this freaking hard drive on this computer wasn't so small, but like that we could come up with. I think it also offers these other issues of like where would you bury it. I mean, I know now I have an idea now, but and it would be should we do it somewhere where it's public knowledge or no one knows, and what would we put in it, and we could discuss that. I mean, this is from Popular Mechanics, like the one I was looking at. And or if there's like patrons that are designers, but that I think it'd be cool to have the scroll of everyone supporting the show. But then yeah, like little pieces, like tiny stuff that could fit in there if people want to submit that. Or I was thinking if people want to anonymously, yeah, like a geocache, which I love geocaching, by the way. Uh, Not that different than geocache. Like, yeah, like stuff you would put in a geocache. Um, but also like a I don't know if people are familiar with what post secret is, but if anybody wants to submit like anything written anonymously, like cathartic about why they can't sleep, we could put that in there. I mean, it would, or not anonymously, but like, or they want to write a letter and then burn it and send a tiny piece of ash to put in there. But like, I mean, because 2016 has been quite the year. It hasn't been the best year. Um, and I know a lot of people that listen to the show have had a tough 2016. But I mean, there's also things to celebrate about it. But I don't know. Like as a kid, I've never taken part in a time capsule. and it's always something you hear about, and I think it's so cool. Yeah, people could submit this, yeah, like photos of themselves, like uh so it sounds like people think it's a good idea. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm too jazzed about this idea. I shared on like this one forum. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pitch my patrons on Sunday this idea. Yeah, the Erie Canal. I mean, I know I now have a location where this one would be buried. It probably will stay anonymous, but maybe not. And then, like, how do you get a time capsule to its location? Can you take a time capsule on a plane? Do you send it UPS? That's summer. Yeah, that would be something like that, like Ray's backyard. Um, but yeah, I think it would be fun. Like, uh, and then everybody can participate in it. Yeah, Kenneth, pretty close. Uh, Laura, that's a good question. I mean, this picture, I would say it's like about this length of a human torso, but like a 3/4 inch pipe, I think. Yeah, well, that was the other idea I had was I actually honestly investigated this, but there was actually ethical issues was getting a list of all the patrons and broadcasting it into outer space. I looked into that. Probably about 3 to 4 feet. Yeah, Laura. Um, like I looked into if it would be feasible to like record a list of all the patrons and then broadcast it to outer space. But there is some ethical issues around it, and then who you could trust to get it into outer space. It's still something I would look into doing, but I'd have to dig deeper into the ethics and like what company would do it through because I don't the companies that say they're doing it, but like so yeah, like I think this is something we can discuss on the Patreon page, like and think of ideas. Yeah, I was thinking about that, Bonnie. Like, people could definitely like put in recordings. I didn't even think about that. That would bring up an interesting discussion point. I think like that was another thing I was thinking would be fun. Like people that have a more analytical science side, like what would we record them on? Would we put them on a USB drive? Uh, like 20 years from now, what would be, or 30 years from now, what format is going to be? Um, Good. I'm glad everybody's excited because this is I was kind of excited about it, but I was also nervous. Like I'm like, I think it'd just be fun. And then even the other stuff, it's like, should we just put people's first names? Like, how do people want to be listed? So, like, where would I get a scroll put out? Should we make it into a style? Laura, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, if you wanted to, like, like if you submitted in 2016, I guess it's like submitted in 2016. Uh, wow, that's from 2015, the Florida episode, huh? Yeah. Um, so that's cool. So that's our Patreon. I mean, that was like the announcement, and then these hangouts, I'll try to do at least one a month. Um, Jennifer, that's another good question. Uh, like, do we put it in like an old iPod Nano? Uh, Interesting. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's where I got this picture from. Was from Popular Mechanics. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and so cool. So we're on for making a time capsule. Anybody that's watching this later, uh, I think we got this down now, except for the chat. So I'll have to figure out doing the chat. Again, thank you all for supporting the show. Like there, there is no melodramatic way of saying the podcast would have stopped without listener support. Like it wouldn't exist. And the way it's going to continue is listener support. Like our show is just different. We don't have like just even with our size, we don't have the sponsor support that other shows would have, or I guess even that I had planned on having when I first started the Patreon. And so, yeah, like without your help, when I say it on the show, it's the truth. Like there would be no Sleep with me without your help. So thank you. Like, and you should feel good about it because right now we have whatever 1870 or something, which is like I think well 2%, two. I don't know what it is, but 2%. Yeah. So for you're helping like nine. I don't even know. I don't know the math, but you're putting all these people to sleep. Um, so you should feel good about it. Like you patrons need to have some pride in the I mean you do, but I mean like be like this. Good work. Yeah, maybe an old school cassette too. Yeah. I don't know if a DVD would fit. Flash memory. Yeah, what would we put in there? So cool. Well, thank you everybody for coming by. Thank you for your support, as I said. Thank you for their excitement about this. Thank you for your patience um, with trying this new. I've looked into other live streaming, but this works pretty good as far as once figuring it out. There's some other solutions out there, but uh, yeah, I'm not sold on them yet. So thank you all. Have a great Sunday, and I'll talk to you soon. Yeah, floppy disks, Ken. What about a 3 point? Oh, I'm getting some tinnitus. All right. Yeah. Thank you all. Good night.